And it does look like we're back again. Well, folks, I don't know what to say at this point other than sorry. Yeah, not quite.
It's
not quite
one
the
of
way it
those
is,
things.
and it's just as frustrating for you guys as it is for us. And we do apologize. We're going to try and keep it going as much as possible, but we're going to try keep the stuff going as much as possible. We're back again. Yeah, let's try to get back into the swing of it. I do apologize.
Yeah, I think, Stephen Bisley, I think it's one of those issues we're going to sit with servers sitting across the pond. That, you know, until they get all the cables and stuff sorted out, that we're going to have iffy stuff going on with streams and stuff. If we see Morgan McCall diving into the pits, he's decided he's going to make his first pit stop with 55 minutes to go. And out in front, Tariq Adams now almost a 1.5 second gap over Daniel Rowe. Christian Deploy 5.4 seconds down the road. So if it was a pass by, at this stage, Christian has not really made an impact on that gap between him and Daniel Rowe in second place. But still 55 minutes to go in the race. Anything is still possible. Giovanni Porzio, he's running in fourth position, just over a second behind his teammate. So Christian opened up a little bit of a gap. And then in fifth place, we've got Daniel de Matos Preto. He's in a bit of a no man's land at this stage. Then Bursma in sixth. Seventh place, we've got Henry Meyer. He's starting to, or not starting to close the gap. He's running within half a second of his teammate. And then Van der Merwe in 8th place. 9th place, we've got Fleming Bauer. Then Vincent Nell in 10th place. And Skitter 11th. Steve, I'm quickly having a look through the field here. So up until 18th position has not pitted yet. So Paul Venter 12th. Eric Steyn in 13th. Segers in 14th. Verveers in 15th. Paul Venter. Oh, you've jumped. Sorry.
And just taking a look there, we have also had another retirement. Unfortunately, guys getting disconnected with stuff. So Magic Vaven going and saying that he's out as well. So seems like not gonna be a couple of guys having technical failures, including ourselves, which is rather unfortunate. Sean Skitter, though, all over the back of Vincent Nell, as you pointed out, though, up to 18th position. No one has done their pit stops. Sanjan Pillay, Nicholas Manuel, they have done their pit stops. But Justin Lotes is trying to catch up. Christian Venter has done his first pit stop. Romani Yonka has pulled into the pits. Romani Yonka is actually down in 23rd position. He hasn't pulled into the pits yet, and he's in a bit of no man's land with everyone. Do want to talk about something very interesting, though. Time in the pits. It takes roughly 27 seconds from entrance to exit. If you splash and dash like what we've seen with Sanjan Pillay and Nicholas Manuel, it takes 5.7 seconds, so nearly 6 seconds to do a splash and dash. Add tires to that, you're going to add 30 seconds in your box. Difficult one to plan out for a lot of these drivers, having to try and figure out. As we see Kika Sanderson, he's a little bit in no man's land as well. He's trying to get himself back out on circuit. And let's actually take a look what happened. Running out a little bit wide, dirt onto the tires, that's not going to help him. And as they get onto the gas, slinging it in, putting the power understeer.
Do you think that's as a result of his damage he suffered a little bit earlier on? I mean, it just looked like that Lamborghini understeered straight off the road.
Yeah,
it either didn't want to turn in or not slow down.
Yeah, it had no drive whatsoever. Vincent Nell, though, losing our position to Sean Skitter. So those two are still battling it out and having a good one out there. So I do think there is damage starting to come into play with a lot of drivers. I do want to also talk about a couple of drivers that aren't having too much of a bad race, and that's Alan Patterson with Romani Yonka just ahead of him. Romani still needing to pit. Alan Patterson has done his first pit stop as they get back onto the power. Mahath Musa done all his pit stops. Werner Skuman and the likes of Jan Kleinans done all their pit stops. early on in the race, hoping that that's going to carry through to the end of the line. So it's going to be an interesting one for all the drivers going around the outside, though. Alan Patterson taking evasive action. Romano Yonka was I think Romano Yonka was just a little bit slower, and Alan came off the gas, and especially with these type of cars like your Ferraris, your mid-engine vehicles, Lamborghinis. I know when I drove a Lambo a little bit earlier today, it does have that problem where if you're in the middle of a corner and you come off the power, it actually has so much torque behind the rear wheels that it does twist you around quite quickly. So you've got to be on the power all the way through, or you've got to be off the power from the start. There's no moving around in between. It's not as stable compared to like the BMW. As we see, Bego Krobler closing down on Romano Yonka, and Jonas Kraling saying, "Oh, I'm going to join the party too. Going to make it 3 wide as they charge their way down the very, very long straight." As they get past Romano Yonka, Romano trying to tuck into the toe of Kraling, who's going around the outside. Going to go side by side with Bego Krobler. Bego, though, keeping it defensive, locking it out. And it does look like Kraling was able to get the drive. Bego, though, does look for the inside line. Wasn't able to get past. And take a look at Leclerc Besson. He's pulled Alan Patterson into the mix as well to get into this fight. So we're starting to see major battles towards the back end of the field, not at the front, where it's usually been the other way around.
Well, Stephen, that's something you'll see at this class of racing. I mean, the lap times throughout the field are so close that it does lend itself to close battles up and down the field, as we see Alan Patterson
wide.
Alan's going to go around the outside. Just say, listen, I'm coming through, I'm going for it. Have you ever seen
contact with the two in the corner. Oh, man.
What I wanted to say is, have you ever seen 3 wide through there? And a car making a pass around the outside. I'm going to say,
let's go look
initially well done.
I want to see this. Alan gets the drive. He sees the 2 cars together. He goes for the lunge. Takes a perfect lunge. Stuck on the outside. You can see understeering like no tomorrow. Getting on the drive, and he has to turn in. There's no room. And unfortunately, the slight clip on the rear. He went for the apex and unfortunately ran out of tar there. It's an unfortunate racing incident, but he is going to get himself into the box, getting himself sorted out and back out onto the track as soon as possible. So getting that second pit stop done and dusted. But hats off to the drivers. 3 wide through the corners is not an easy run.
No, especially, through a corner like Farm and the one just after Farm. I mean, it's extremely tight through there to go 3 wide, and for Alan to make a pass around the outside, I mean, that takes some doing.
Incredible stuff. Daniel Rowe in second place, Tariq Adam in first, Christian Deploy trying to close down the distance between the two of them, actually running a faster lap time on the last lap compared to Daniel Rowe, running a 158.3. Giovanni also with a 158.3. Daniel Demetrios Petro in 5th place, along with Ronaldo Boersma, Henry Mayer, Johan van der Merwe, Fleming Bauer closing up the distance between them. I am keeping an eye on a couple of battles up and down through the field. Sanjan Pillay, he's onto the back of Kerry Duplessis. These two are looking to take the fight to one another. Nicholas Manuel is trying to keep up with the likes of Sanjan Pillay, and got Jude Neville right behind him. Jude still hasn't pitted just as yet, so he's trying to keep as close as he can to Nicholas Manuel and Sanjan Pillay, who made a very, very, very early pit stop in the first part of the race. We're now down to the 47-minute mark here at Silverstone for the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate and RaceFace. And I've got to say, it's been a very, very interesting start to the championship. Was a little bit delayed, but I think for all good things, it comes to those who wait, and that's what we're seeing right now. Some phenomenal racing, some thrills and spills here at Silverstone for round 2 of the Grid Championship. Tries to look around the outside. Sanjan Pillay doing everything he can. He realizes that Kerry Duplessis is actually costing him a fair amount of time, and Nicholas Manuel getting right onto the back of him, looking to go and take the fight once again.
Yeah, Nicholas Manuel in somewhat similar position than when he was last night, doing the early pit stop. Now he is, stuck behind cars that still need to do their first pit stop, and the cars are taking the fight to them. I mean, Duplessis is not hanging back as we see Manuel closing right up onto the rear of Sanjan Pillay.
Goes for the cutback. He's got the cutback.
Is he going to go?
No, he tried.
Not this time. He tried.
He tried going for the cutback as well on the drive, but Sanjan Pillay just managing to get it, and now it's about taking the speed down this incredibly long straight, side by side. Ooh, can get on the brakes. Sanjan Pillay giving it a quick move over to go and lock down the door to ensure that's not going to happen. Thierry Duplessis just ahead of them is now saying thank you very much, going to keep going. I see Eric Costain has pulled into the pits, but Daniel de Villiers is seeing this battle out of his wing mirrors and going, I don't want to be anywhere near you guys. Sanjan Pillay pulling into the pits. He's decided enough is enough. He's got to get himself sorted out and will be completing all his pit stops. So let's see where he's going to end up. Once again, I do think maybe an early pit stop gamble did not help in this type of race, but let's see. I have been proven wrong. I see that Tariq Adam is out in first place. Daniel Rowe out in second. Christian Deploy in third place. Fourth place, Giovanni Pozzero. Daniel DeMarchos Petro. Ronaldo Boersma. Henry Mayer, along with Jan van der Merwe in 8th place. 9th is Fleming Bauer. Sean Skitter in 10th. 11th, Vincent Nell. Paul Fenter in 12th. Unrik Sikkers in 13th. 14th, Jean Viviers. Daniel, the Hitman de Villiers. Gary Duplessis. Nicholas Baniel. Jude Neville. Justin Lotus, Christian Fenter, Eric Kirstein, Essie Estes, Johannes Kraling, Bego Krubler chasing right onto the back of him, Leclerc Besson, Ramon Yonka, Grant Sebastian, Cameron de Bastos, Sanjan Pillay is in the pit still, and here comes Kleinans. He's going to be getting right past, and let's see if he'll be able to launch himself up. Yeah, he does so. Kika Sanderson, he's also trying to get a little bit more of a jump. Couple of retirements though, and it does look like Morgan McCall retiring his car as well for the race, which is rather unfortunate to see considering he had quite a good bit of pace out there. Sanjan Pillay there losing a bit of time. Alan Patterson trying to get a bit of a recovery drive after his incident a little bit earlier. He looks in the rearview mirror and sees his teammates starting to close behind him. Daniel the Hitman de Villiers going on the defense as he's got Harry Duplessis looking around the outside. Nicholas Manuel also looking to try and get involved. And I'm sure Daniel is climbing on the mic and saying, Alan, you best move over, buddy. We're coming through and you're going to have a 3-car train. So whatever door's going to open, you're going to open it wide. As Nicholas Manuel says, nope, he's going to stay out of it. Harry Duplessis, though, and Daniel de Villiers. Daniel going out wide, Kerry going and doing everything he can. A little bit of a flash of light saying, well done, buddy. That was a bit close, and let's try it again. And Kerry Duplessis saying, thank you very much, and get going.
Yeah, I think that's just, Daniel's way of zoning in the laser.
That's it. Sighting the ball.
Yeah, it's just...
If it's called.
Yeah, sighting the ball, if you want to go that way. Stephen, why so serious?
Oh, there we go.
Referring to Duplessis' livery.
That's it. Why?
He's asking Daniel the question. Why so serious?
Yeah, there we go. Oh man, I've got to say, I love the interesting little things you get to see on the cars. I know a couple of guys had faces of the drivers on the car. You actually had your one that was stuck on the car in the corner, and everyone zoomed into it.
May I just point out, the livery was designed for me, not by me.
Yes. And then you also had like Grant Sebastian last season with a pink car saying sponsor me. And now we've got Ethan Lacuna in Pro-Am who's actually got direct drive, please. Christian Deploy, though, he has pulled into the pits. He's saying fuel, please. And maybe we're going to see a pair of tires getting chucked in. And the pit board also 50 meters up the road to where it needs to be. So it looks like someone's gone and taken out the pit board and really thrown it right up the pit lane itself.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a marshal go and pick it up and put it back where it belongs. Because, it can actually put you off a little bit sometimes when you're aiming for a pit board. You come around the corner and all of a sudden it is no longer there. I've scored a drive-through like that before.
Because you get zoned into the whiteboard, and when the whiteboard's not there, well, there's you got to try to figure something else out. as Jude Neville all over the back of Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. This is one of our closest battles out on circuit at the moment. You can see sparks starting to fly. It's getting a bit darker out there. Lights are starting to shine a bit brighter on this cloudy day here at Silverstone. And 24 degrees out on the circuit, 19 degrees air temperature. And we're sitting at nearly 2:45 in sim racing time for the drivers to go and figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to maneuver their way around. How's the forecast looking for the clouds, though? Is it look like we're going to have rain on the horizon? Or is we just going to have that British cloudy weather sticking with us for the next 41 minutes of Grid Championship round number 2 on our road to Season 4?
Sorry to disappoint you, but prediction is the prediction for 30 minutes is still overcast. I will let you know as soon as I see something change there. But can you imagine rain in the last 10 minutes?
I think there's going to be a few people that are going to bring cable ties and tape to our mouths as we see side-by-side action. SESA is having Johannes Grayling diving up on the inside of him. The ZRC team going and fighting out with the sister team, ZRC Scuderia, now has Bego Krobler all over the back of him, really pushing as hard as he can. Yellow flag, so, for Ramona Jonker, who's trying to rejoin the circuit. What on earth happened to Ramona? And this is through Maggots and Beckett. Runs over the curb, gets a bounce. Oh. Now, the thing is, you don't want to hit the brakes. You want to just try and get it going because you want to minimize
It's always
the slide.
nice when you... Yeah, and it's always nice when you stare backwards at the oncoming traffic coming at you through Maggots and Beckett's. But I think extremely well done there by Romano Jonker, Steven. When he spun round, he didn't hit the brakes and he actually kept the car rolling to get it out of the way because he could see the oncoming traffic coming towards him.
Interesting changes at the front, though. Daniel Demetrios Petro out in first place. Johan van der Merwe in second. Sean Schutter in third. Henrik Sikkers followed by Jean Viviers. Kerry Duplessis, Daniel de Villiers, Jude Neville, Tariq Adam has just come out of the pits. Daniel Rowe going and replicating him in the pit stop. Vincent Nell also just coming out of the pits. Christian Deploy has done his pit stop. Giovanni Porzero has done a pit stop. Ronaldo Boersma as well getting involved into the fight. So a couple of guys have done their pit stops, and now it's only from 1st to 8th that are needing to do their first pit stop. But not to go and throw out down the wire, 25th position, Nicholas Manuel has done all his pit stops. He is now trying to close the distance on all the cars ahead of him. So maybe the later pit stop, but I do think, based on what the drivers are doing, I'm not a gambling man here, but I think it's time for me to try out a little bit of gambling. I reckon in the final 5 minutes, we're going to see 5 minutes of the pit window. Let me get that one straight. 5 minutes of the pit window, we're going to see these cars pulling into the pits. We know that they have gone and taken these difficult times to do it. I do want to point out, though, Tariq Adam, Yannaman, here's something for you. Entrance to exit, 27.2 seconds to get from entrance to exit of the pit stop. But how long was he stopped in the box?
Yeah.
What do you think? Considering we've seen the guys with splash and dashes, and I'm talking
4
about
seconds.
Johannes Krayling has done 8.5 in the box. So he was a proper splash and dash.
Yeah.
Tariq Adam, though.
6 seconds?
32.3 seconds.
So
Daniel,
he took tyres, and if he took tyres, Daniel Rowe also took tyres.
Daniel Rowe, 32.3 seconds.
Yes.
Then you go and take a look. Christian Deploy, 32.6 seconds. Giovanni Porzero, 33.2 seconds. Daniel Demetrios Petro, 35 seconds. Ronaldo Boersma, 31.8. Henry Mayer, 32 seconds. Essie Esterhays, Splash and Dash, 5.9. Bego Krobler, who's closing down. Paul Fenter with a stop-go, 30. It does look like Bego will have the prize at the end. Paul Fenter, good luck to you, buddy. Bayo's won the bet, it seems. Andrej Sika has also done 33.1 seconds in the box, so he's got a new set of boots on that car. Cameron de Bastos has got 25.2 seconds. I don't think that's his tyres.
Wow.
Nicholas Manuel, 32.3. So the guys are a bit of changes here. Some taking the risk of going for a splash and dash and one set of tyres to take him out to the front. Others opting that the tyre wear is too much at the moment.
Yes, another thing I want to add is battle for the lead between Tariq Adams and Daniel Rowe. I've got a suspicion Daniel Rowe is going to follow Tariq the whole race and do whatever he does. So don't be surprised, next time around, he might try and undercut. Well, I'm talking next time around, pit stops. Daniel Rowe might try and undercut or also follow Tariq Adams into the pits. What do you think, Stephen?
I think you're right on that one. Second place, Jean Viviers, Johan van der Merwe in first place. Daniel de Villiers in third place has got Tariq Adam right onto the back of him, and Daniel Rowe closing down the distance between them as well. So Daniel de Villiers still needing to do his pit stop. Jude Neville and Sean Skitter are doing their pit stops. So the grid now starting to get themselves sorted out. The only first, second, and third at current are needing to do their 2 pit stops. And that's Johan van der Merwe, Jean Viviers, and Daniel the Hitman de Villiers. Tariq Adam, though, right onto the back of Daniel and trying to utilize the toe, flashing his lights, though, saying, listen, buddy, I've got to get past. But they are fighting for position. Daniel going and opting, he's just going to let him by. He knows who he is racing and where he needs to be. So he lets Tariq Adam go by. Daniel Rowe also going and making his way through. So Daniel the de Villiers going and thinking a little bit ahead, saying, look, I've got to do my stop still. You guys have done one stop. I know where my race is and know where my butter, well, my bread is buttered. So got to be very careful with that. That's interesting to see, though. Very technical mind coming into play with some of the drivers, where they, instead of just doing the usual red mist and race everyone on the circuit that you can see, thinking about the longer game of the situation of where do they want to finish up.
But it's definitely showing that Daniel definitely has spatial awareness around him. And I'm not talking purely about the cars around him. I'm talking about, he knows where he is on track and who he is racing. He knew for a fact he was not racing Daniel Rowe or Tariq Adams. So, why cost yourself time trying to battle with those cars if you're not on the same strategy than they are? Just let them go on their merry way and you carry on with your race.
Grant Sebastian did exactly the same with Nicholas Manuel. Opening up the door, opening it up nice and wide, let Nicholas go and utilize the toe to try and pull himself along. And this is interesting to see in the early stages of the season. Remember, we're only on round 2 of this 8-race championship. And we usually see these type of moves going on in the later stages of the championship. So a lot of the drivers taking a more cautious approach at the start, which is very interesting, but it does lean on to the fact of these are professional teams that we have out on the circuit for our pro division that are looking at the picture. They're looking at the data that's getting fed to them and saying, right, where am I? Where do I need things to be? X, Y, Z. And there's a lot of thought process going on behind the steering wheels. And I know we talk about, a sim where you're sitting in a seat, you've got a steering in your hand, you're staring at a screen, but there's so much going on in the background that I would just love to be a flea on the wall, not even a fly, a flea, just to listen to what's being said amongst the team engineers, the team drivers, and even just the families that are there, because generally you do have a family member that's sitting next to you and saying, keep going, you've got this, and that little bit of support coming into play. As you see, Christian Venter, he's on the back of Jude Neville. These two are going and fighting it out. And Neville still needing to do one pit stop. And Christian Venter has completed all his pit stops. But Jude's not going to make this easy for him, as they're battling it out for 18th and 19th position. And I got to say, interesting racing between it. Front engine versus mid engine. What's going to have more power? The Mercedes really trying to out-drag Christian Venter, getting put on the outside line. He's going to have to touch the brakes midway through the corner. Goes up very wide. Jude going though. Yep. The Merc doing what the Merc does best. It snaps. It goes all fine until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't, yeah.
Take a look. Fastest lap time being set by Daniel Rowe. 1:57.3 in the last 31 minutes of the race. Paul Fenter
he's now
has
only
also
half
stopped.
a second.
Has Paul Fenter...
Yeah.
Paul Fenter's retired.
No.
Wow. Okay, well. Cameron de Bastos, take a look at that. McLaren, though, looking a bit ailing. Not quite in one piece.
Face.
Yeah, not quite in one piece of what it used to be. And Paul Fenter is already starting out on the grandstands. So, yeah, there was a bet, and I'm pleased to report he's keeping to his bet. So, Paul Fenter out on the grandstands, supporting the drivers out there, but saying he kind of shot himself in the foot, fully admits it, and is now just watching all the action going on. Good to see it. I love it. It's always good to see the guys battling out.
I want to find out from Paul now, is he going to get a head start on that bet as we have a...
Tariq Adam is trying to get past one of the back markers, and so is Daniel Rowe.
Daniel has boxed him in.
Side by side, and now, I wouldn't like to be that back marker because I've got two very, very aggressive drivers. Oh, contact! Daniel Rowe runs out wide, understeers into the side of Tariq Adam. Tariq is going to be happy because now he has got Daniel Rowe thrown all the way back. Daniel Rowe has got Christian Deploy and Daniel de Villiers getting past him. Christian Deploy going after Daniel de Villiers, but he's going to have to try and fight his way back there, but generally we see two cars come together and it's ended badly. Tariq Adam is going to be counting his lucky stars on that one, that it was thankfully only side on impact and he was able to keep the car all together. Daniel Rowe, on the other hand, after pushing incredibly hard, got caught out. Daniel de Villiers, though, going to let him go. Not going to put too much of a fight on that one. That means Christian Deploy has now got Daniel Rowe right behind him. Jean Viviers, though, who was ahead of Tariq Adam, eventually getting caught out. Tariq going and making a bit of work past him, but it wasn't an easy run for that. And let's actually jump back about 30 seconds and see where the pass happened, because these two were fighting for position. There was no obligation to leave, and Viviers just running out wide and losing out. So, wow. I mean, that was quite a thing. So, let's see what we can do. I know a couple of guys are sitting on the grandstands wondering if we can go back just a fraction to see what happened.
We can go that far back. But just quickly on another note.
Watch me try. Watch this.
Okay, I'll watch you try. Quickly on another note. So Paul Fenter says he basically can't leave the pits, otherwise he gets disqualified because, Paul, if I'm not mistaken, you made a mistake while trying to serve your penalty.
Oh, bugger. Okay, here we go. Here's the replay of the incident. Side by side with the two. Let's jump to our heli cam. Tim the heli, side by side, no room between it. Runs over the curb, goes out wide, bumps, and that's just over the curb. Over the curb, bounces, upset the car, and launched him. So, and there goes Daniel de Villiers, followed by the likes of Christian Deploy. And yeah, so we got a fair amount of time before we catch up to live. I will point that out. But the other man, what a race of turn of events that's gone on for all the drivers out there, and what are they needing to do to try and move forward? And I mean, Tariq Adam got the jump on Jean Viviers right to the front end of the field, and that was that. So Tariq Adam got boxed in a little bit in the little bit of a fight, and Jean, who was just trying to defend his position, and that wasn't quite in the same race as the other two, did come into play ultimately. We've got to say that. So yeah, unfortunately, running in too wide cost him a fair amount of time. Paul Fenter, as said, went in to serve the penalty and flew into the pit a little bit too quick, going and scoring himself another penalty in the process. Problem. The brake pedal is the middle one, by the way. No, wait, it's GT car. It's the left one.
Some GT cars have 3 pedals.
Not the McLaren. McLaren has got 2 pedals. The 720S has got 2 pedals. You see,
Merc has got 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the Merc has got a clutch pedal on, but it hasn't got it on the steering.
There we go. We're back live.
There we go. Back to the action. Henry Mayer is onto the back of Jan van der Merwe in the McLaren. We were talking about it. And Henry Mayer in the Ferrari now putting up a chase. He's fighting it out for 10th position. But Tariq Adam opening up that gap is now trying to make his way through. So Daniel Rowe's fresh pair of tyres, though, I think is a little bit caught out. I mean,
interesting thing. I watched a stream of someone competing in last night's race in the Pro-Am class, and they suffered a similar type of spin that Daniel Rowe had. What I'm getting to is, Stephen, the interesting thing that I saw on that stream is those tires glow red hot, and I think the right rear on that car shot up to 28 PSI almost immediately. So, and it took him almost a whole lap to get the tires back down to temperature, and he was losing all the way while he was trying to do it.
Yeah,
so
I think for anyone at home that doesn't quite know what that means, it's Daniel De Villiers losing out a bit of time to Daniel Demartris Petra and to Giovanni. For anyone at home, it's overheating the tire, which means you are losing a huge amount of grip. And to put it in real world terms, well, go jump on an ice rink with your Nike shoes and see how you feel after
pretty good
getting
comparison.
to the other side.
Yeah, pretty good comparison. And you'll also be driving at roughly the same speed as running on ice.
I don't think so, because on ice you kind of hit the ground faster than when you were standing on it. You kind of slide a lot quicker. But yeah, exactly. You're tiptoeing your way around the circuit, and it does mentally come to you because you're having to lift and lift and lift, and the car's just not behaving like what it used to. And you're waiting 2-3 laps for everything to cool down. And the only way it's going to cool down is by gaining that little bit of speed, allowing the air to flow and cool the tire down, because, well, it's generating friction every time it hits the surface of the track, and now you're going and constantly racing. So it's generating temperature just out of pure friction, and it's turning into a monstrous run there. So the guys are having to bear that in mind. So let's see how it's going to work as Bego Krobler and Vincent Nell duking it out with one another. And Vincent Nell not giving Bego an easy run for his money here. And I'm sure Bego is now having a bit of a tough time. Gets ahead of Vincent Nell under braking. And talk about closing the door on a person's nose. That was pretty much that.
Yeah, it's just a case of, sorry, you're not coming through. I'm just keeping an eye out here on the side on Daniel Rowe. He's now trying to close the gap down to Christian Deploy in front of him, 1.6 odd seconds behind him. And, I think he's now on a damage control run, trying to get back the second place that he was holding before the accident happened. But onto SAS Racing.
I do want to point out they do have a pit stop in the bag at the moment. All of them. From 1st to 13th are still needing to do their pit stop. Daniel De Villiers is the only one that's jumped out. So Sean Skitzer tries to get past.
On the grass.
Is he sideways? How to change the color of your shorts in a hurry. That's for certain. I mean, let's see if we can actually go on board and go into the helmet.
I would like to go of Sean.
Of Sean's car. Well, there we go. You ask and you shall receive, because Tim is that good.
Have you got comms with Tim? Backing out there, but
you can see feathering the throttle. Yeah. But Sean, I've got to say, kept it in. There was the moment of, if this is going to go bad, well, it's going to go bad regardless.
Yeah, it's going to go bad big, but let's take a chance.
I've got to say, that's one
of those. Yeah, but it's one of those cases. The yellow flags weren't out yet, so nobody says I must slow down.
It's it's interesting with these drivers because, Essie once again going off circuit. Daniel de Villiers saying thank you very much. He's going to keep up the gas. And Nicholas Manuel trying to get past. He gets past Jean Viviers. And Viviers now has the hitman dialing himself in to go for the pass. I've got to say, the guys have got a bit of arms out. I've been quite enjoying this. We talked about touring car action. Well, we getting to see the old school sort of DTM racing at the moment. Where if it's gonna go wrong, it's oh well. If you're going to break it properly. Don't halfway the job.
We've also said before, and please don't take us out for the statement. Essentially, these are touring cars, DTM cars, because that's what they race now in DTM. They race GT3 cars.
Yeah, that is true. And as being pointed out, Nicholas Manuel up into 11th place is technically in a net top 5. He is 2 seconds away from Ulrich Sickers, and Ulrich is 14 seconds away from Sean Skitter, so he may be able to get that top 5. It's gonna be if he can keep the hammer down. He cannot slow up. He needs to keep a consistent lap time of a low 158 if he wishes to get into that top 5. Which, I mean, take a second off. We blink quicker than that. I mean, what's the difference? Well, when you're traveling at 330 kilometers an hour on a circuit, and you're trying to find that braking marker and slow down the car to 60 kilometers an hour at a 50-meter board, and then get back on the power to travel back up to 300 kilometers an hour in under a second, well, it does make it a little bit more exciting.
No, it definitely does. And Daniel de Villiers, he's tucking up behind.
Is he dropping a wheel off again?
Things are really getting interesting because the drivers are really pushing hard. I mean, Daniel's trying to make his way up to Fafis. Just behind him, SES Racing, he's trying to catch up to Daniel de Villiers. So 3-car battle out on track, 20 minutes to go. All 3 of these still need to make one pit stop. And this is definitely a race for position.
Yeah, and Nicholas Manuel's the only one that's out of that at the moment. He's keeping up a good pace. So let's see how it's going to work out though. But Tariq Adam out in first place. Christian Deploy in second place, trying to keep up the momentum. He's got Daniel Rowe trying to close down the distance. Giovanni Polzero has got Daniel Lamatros Petro right behind him, with Ronaldo Boersma, who is caught behind. That looks to be Alan Patterson. He's trying to go and maneuver his way around. Alan Patterson is going to be getting the blue flags, and he's going to have to give the space. He's not to fight with the drivers, but he doesn't have to jump out of the way in 3 corners. Daniel de Villiers, though, losing out of position to Essie Este. So Essie managing to get it all tucked up and ready to go. Managing to get himself
that
in
Ferrari
place.
snapping a bit. Yeah, that Ferrari snapping a little bit on him. So definitely quite lively, and that things like those are going to allow Daniel de Villiers to close down that gap. Although it does look like de Villiers has dropped back a little bit on this lap, now 0.9 of a second behind. So not as close as he was previously, and a little bit further up the road. Do you think this is formation flying, or are they going to... Stephen?
I don't know. The last lap time, Daniel Lamatros Petro did a 158.4. Well, Giovanni did a 158.35, but Daniel has been hunting. He's been hunting, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, but I do think they are going to look at getting past one another. I do want to point out, though, under a second, you said you were watching it. Well, Tim, the cameraman, got it before you. Christian Deploy has now got a row problem.
A row problem, you say?
He's got a row problem at this point, and it's going to be an interesting one. And I'm sure all the teams are looking back and seeing Nicholas Manuel in 11th position is going to be wondering when are they going to do the pit stop, because the undercut is there, and the Project Vapor driver of Nicholas Manuel has made the first move on the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where Nicholas Manuel ends up after the front drivers have completed their pit stop. There is a bit of a gap in front of him. I mean, I think to be very honest, Steven, after the likes of Meyer, Van der Merwe, Skitter, Seegers completed their pit stop, we might see Manuel feeding into about 5th, 6th position. So I think the grandstands might not be far off. I see they predict a 7th place. So 5th place, not quite far off. So let's see where Nicholas Manuel can end up at the race at this stage. He's got a Seegers issue in front of him, but Seegers gives him way. Oh, and he loses that Ferrari.
Yeah, drops a wheel off the dirt, and there's Mahath Musa to keep him company. Mahath is actually not fighting for position. He is a little bit further down the order, but keeping up a reasonably good pace to stay into the fight as well. This fight, though, Daniel Rowe and Christian Deploy, looks very familiar, like what we had at Kota, where these two came to blows. And now it's come back here at Silverstone. Daniel Rowe, Christian Deploy. Let's see how it's all going to work out. But Tariq Adam is going to be watching his relative on this one. 7.5 seconds gap between himself and Christian Deploy, who has now got Daniel Rowe hunting all over the back of him. Giovanni Porzero, even though he's got a teammate behind him, as Daniel Petro, Daniel's not making it easy for him to get off the power. So he's going to keep pushing him and keep trying to open up that gap every step of the way. So interesting racing going on in the remaining 15 minutes and 18 seconds of the race. Daniel Rowe, though, closing up 0.3 of a second to Christian Deploy. Now we're in for a fight. Both have got a new set of tyres. Daniel Rowe has hurt his set of tyres, while Christian Deploy has been on a bit of a save at the moment with his set of tyres. So let's see how this little battle is going to go through. Nicholas Manuel up into 10th place, so is still that viable threat for the top 7. And Henry Mayo is going to have to keep a very close eye on that little battle as it goes on. Tariq Adam in 1st place, Christian Deploy, Daniel Rowe, Giovanni Porzero, Daniel Petro, Ronaldo Boersma is someone that's flown under the radar. He's in 6th. Henry Mayo in 7th. Jan van der Merwe in 8th. The McLaren really showing what it can do. Sean Skitter, Nicholas Manuel, Enric Sikkers, Jean Viviers, SDSAs, Daniel de Villiers, Justin Lotus, Christian Fenton. Bauer in 17th. 18th is Bego Krobler. 19th is Vincent Nell. Jan Kleinans in 20th. 21st, Johannes Kraling, Eric Verstein, and Leclerc Basson in 23rd as it stands at the moment.
And out on track, Christian Deploy, as you said it, he's got a Rowe problem, and he definitely has a Daniel Rowe at this stage. I mean, it's 0.4 between the cars. Daniel Rowe all over the rear wing of that Lamborghini of Christian Deploy. This is gonna be a hard
last lap. So for 2 laps in a row, Daniel Rowe has been faster. He did a 57, and now he's done a 158.2, where Christian Deploy has done a 158.3. So this is getting a bit close and a bit tight between the two cars, battling it out for 2nd and 3rd place right to the end. And well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready for a proper fight, as it's a reboot and get going once again, as Hansi Myberg likes to phrase it. Reboot, refocus, and go for the reward. And go for the fights. I see Daniel de Villiers dropping down the order, though. He has got yellow flags on him. And, yeah, that Lambo's looking a bit scratched. So he had a bit of a mistake somewhere. But back up to the front, 2nd and 3rd place. Daniel Rowe, Christian Deploy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, take your bets. Get ready to rock and roll. Pick your favorite colors. Pick your favorite driver. As we're about to see 2nd place become a very big point of contention. And remember, they still need to do a pit stop. So who's going to be first in the pits to get it out the way? And how close can they get it? And Christian Deploy, pushing harder and harder, is actually starting to close down on Tariq Adam a little bit, which, if you're a teammate, that's not going to be too helpful.
Yeah, I'm just having a quick laugh at Hansi Myberg's comment where he says, row, row the boat. And
gently down the stream, merrily, and now we're just been caught in trouble.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a dream for Christian Deploy at this stage.
No, Christian Ploy is soaking up a bit of a fight with Daniel Rowe leaning the pressure onto him at the moment and really having a great fight out there as they make their way through. Maggots and Beckett, it's all about getting the flow, keeping it up and keeping it going as you try. You can see as Tim the cameraman getting a bit of a swing from the helicopter, and he is really hanging out of it, trying to get the shot, and it actually shows you how close these cars are to one another, that a single move between one of them, one miss of a brake marker, can change the outcome of a race. But what is it being done to the front tires and the rears of these cars, especially with only 11 minutes and 13 seconds left? This type of racing is incredible. Further down though, you got John Viviers. He's got SES all over the back of him. Vincent Nell has got Bego Krobler doing exactly the same. So we have got small battles firing up right around the circuit for every single one of our drivers as they really step it on. Christian Ploy though, getting a bit unsteady. Now, he did report that the Lambo isn't the strongest around Silverstone. Daniel Rowe right behind him. Contact between the two. Christian pulls it back. Rowe does. Oh, okay. Well, I do
Round two?
I do want to point that out. Daniel Rowe did back off and allow Christian Deploy to get his drive back and get going once again. Did hurt him, and that is that's one thing I do want to point out for the drivers. Doesn't matter if you're an AM, Pro-Am, Pro, Gold, Silver, all the divisions that we have here in the Grid Championship, brought to you by Mettlestate and RaceFace. There is a gentleman agreement between them all. Shake of the hands and say, listen, if there's a problem, we're going to work together on this and try to come up with a fair solution, if I can put it that way. Respect being put out there by the drivers. So it's good to see. It's good to see out there. I think it is noted, but one thing that is going to be noted, Christian Deploy's tyres are going to be a little bit sore after that one.
Yeah, you know, Daniel Rowe already was on tyres that was hurting after that previous spin of his. If anything, Stephen, Christian Deploy actually opened up a little bit of a gap due to that incident. Daniel Rowe did drop back. So he will have to make his way back up to that rear wing of Christian Deploy in order to... Whoopsie,
Keegan spun round.
Donuts after the race.
Yeah, no, he's early celebrations a little bit far down the grid, my friend. But he's still up and going. Good to see. Good to see. And now the pit stops are coming into play. As we see Daniel DeMartros Petro, he's onto the back of Giovanni Paul-Zero. See SAS here has pulled into the pits. No one has moved your 50-kilometer pit board as yet.
I need to go and speak to these marshals.
Just go talk to Paul. He's parked over there.
Paul can't exactly move, otherwise he gets qualified. So he's just in it. Paul, you're just in this for the points.
Paul, if you can climb out your car, it's a little bit up the road. Just go and bring it back to the end of the pit lane. Thanks. Appreciate it, buddy.
Stop, go for SE.
Ouch. Jumping off the pit limiter a little bit too early. And stop go 30-second penalty. That's a third pit stop that he did not want to have, which will throw him down the order because Eric Kirstein's right there. And Leclerc Basson also joining into the fight. He is right behind him. Ramona Yonka, though, in 25th. Can someone please go check on him? Because at the moment, how is he not running out of fuel as yet?
Still needing to do both his pit stops.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Less than 8 minutes to go.
How is he doing that?
Unless he missed his pit box.
I don't know.
On his first stop.
He hasn't stopped. He hasn't been in the pits.
Hasn't been in the pits, okay.
So...
Well, there's some fuel saving going on for you.
Do you know of a hybrid Ferrari? Like a hybrid powered Ferrari? I didn't know they made one, but I think we just found one.
Was it the LaFerrari hybrid powered?
The LaFerrari... hang on. Drop it further down. Giovanni Porzio with a stop-go 30-second penalty. Jumping off the button a bit early. He's got a stop-go 30-second penalty. Oh no. Commentator's curse. Please let it not be the case. Are we seeing commentator's curse striking here at the Grid Championship Round 2? I hope not. As we see Christian Deploy and Daniel Rowe going and squaring up once again. And with only 6.5 minutes left to go, Tyreek Adam, though, has opened up the gap of 9.9 seconds. So he's going to be quite happy with that one. Christian Deploy, though, is going to be trying to get the sweat off his brow as he's got Daniel Rowe right behind him. Daniel Demartros Petro wondering what on earth is he going to do, because he just lost his buddy that he was running in tow with. Ronaldo Boersma also sitting in the middle of nowhere. He's in 5th place. Henry Mayer in 6th. 7th is Sean Skitter. Giovanni Pausero is in 8th, but with that stop-go 30-second penalty, that's going to drop him down the order. Nicholas Manuel up into 9th place. Andrik Sefers is still needing to do a stop. He is in 10th place at the moment. So guys are really trying to stretch it out a little bit here at Silverstone, and with all the thrills and spills. Leclerc Besson with a drive-through penalty. That is for track limits. 21st. Leclerc Besson with a track limit penalty coming into play. Wow. Okay, right, it's heating up,
Penalties
folks.
coming in thick and fast, yeah. With just over 5 minutes to go, Stephen, all the penalties are coming in thick and fast. But out in front, or almost in front, Christian Deploy, 0.2 of a second in front of Daniel Rowe. We're gearing up for round 2 of this battle.
Well, Daniel Rowe last lap time, 158.2. Christian Deploy, 158.4. As they battling their way through. And it does look like Daniel Rowe going and clipping the dirt a little bit. And Christian also going and pushing it. They're running to the nice edge on the